The evening settled like an old friend. Soft light gathered around every familiar corner. The bookshelf, the coffee table, the window that had watched every changing season. Nothing inside this house was particularly grand. No expensive paintings, no polished perfection. Only quiet evidence that two people had lived here with care. A mug left beside a novel, a blanket folded over the sofa, fresh flowers in a simple glass jar. Tiny things easy to overlook, impossible to replace. Love never asked us to build a perfect life, only one that felt true. Home in ordinary things where gentle memories stay. Every quiet morning leads another peaceful day. In every little corner, every smile remains. Love keeps blooming softly like springtime after rain. Home in ordinary things, simple as can be. The sweetest place I've ever found is where you are with me. Tonight we open the old photo album, not searching for anything special, just turning pages one by one. There we were, covered in flour from baking bread, laughing beneath umbrellas, holding hands outside a tiny bookstore, watching autumn leaves float across a quiet park. No glamorous moments, no perfect photographs, only honest days, the kind that quietly become the happiest years. You rested your head against my shoulder. Neither of us said much, the silence already knew every story. Time never steals the moments that matter, it simply teaches us how precious they've always been. Home in ordinary things, every little sign, a favorite chair, a worn-out book, your hand inside mine. The music from the kitchen, the rain upon the glass. Love isn't made of giant moments, it's built to last. Home in ordinary things, steady through the years, holding every joyful laugh, every hopeful tear. Someday, someone else may live within these walls. The shelves will hold different books, the windows will frame different sunsets, the rooms will hear different voices. But somewhere hidden inside the quiet, I like to believe a little kindness will remain. Because love, when shared generously, always leaves something beautiful behind. we chose to love together. This old apartment has never been remarkable. The walls are simple, the floor complains with every careful step, and every window carries the marks of passing seasons. Still, there's something here no photograph could ever capture. A coffee stain on the wooden table, a pressed flower hidden inside a notebook, a tiny crack across a picture frame we promised to replace someday, yet somehow we never did. Maybe perfection was never what we wanted. It's gathered slowly inside the little things we choose not to throw away. The little things we keep become the songs we sing. Tiny pieces of ordinary days turn into everything. A faded photograph, a handwritten note, a quiet afternoon wrapped inside disappear. They quietly remind us love was always here. Your favorite mug still leans against the second shelf. The handle has been glued twice. You laughed when I suggested buying another one. This one's already learned our mornings, you said, so it stayed. The blanket across the sofa still carries the scent of cedar and lavender. The record player sometimes skips the same familiar line. You never complain, instead you smile and sing the missing lyric yourself. Even silence feels comfortable in this room, as though the furniture has listened to every conversation we've ever shared. Homes don't become warm because of fireplaces, they become warm because memories learn where to live. The little things we keep outlast passing years, holding every quiet laugh, every hopeful tear. The keys upon the table, the books beside the bed, every little object knows the words we never said. The little things we keep patiently remain, teaching us that ordinary love is never plain. One day someone else may walk through this room. They may notice the old clock, the worn rug, the scratched piano, the faded curtains, but they'll never know how each one quietly witnessed a life built together. But if love has ever filled a room, it never completely leaves, it lingers inside the smallest details, waiting patiently for someone to notice once again. Morning always reaches the kitchen first. Golden light slips through the curtains, resting gently on the wooden counter. Before either of us speaks, the kettle already knows its part. Steam curls upward, dancing through the air, like tiny memories refusing to disappear. Your favorite coffee mug waits beside the sink. Its color has faded a little. A tiny chip marks the rim. Still, you choose it every single morning. Some habits are never planned. They quietly become the language two hearts understand. Your coffee mug holds more than coffee. It carries sleepy smiles, slow conversations, and quiet mornings only we have known. Every little crack reminds me beautiful things can still be strong. Your coffee mug feels like home before the day has even begun. You stir cream without looking, always 3 slow circles, never 2, never 4. I asked you why once, you laughed. It just feels right. I never questioned it again. Toast pops from the toaster, the radio finds another old love song. You hum along, changing half the melody. Honestly, I like your version better. The window lets in the scent of fresh rain from the garden. A robin perches briefly on the fence. You point before it flies away. Tiny moments, easy to miss, impossible to replace. Happiness rarely arrives all at once. It fills a room, one familiar routine at a time. Your coffee mug warms both your hands. Watching you hold it feels like watching morning itself come alive. The sunlight changes, the seasons turn, yet every sunrise still begins with you. Your coffee mug waiting beside mine. Years from now, perhaps the glaze will fade completely. Perhaps the handle will finally break. If that day comes, we'll place it on a shelf. Not because it can no longer hold coffee, because it already holds something far more precious. Thousands of ordinary mornings. Your coffee mug. If someone asked what love looks like, I wouldn't point toward simply show them. 2 warm cups, a quiet kitchen, soft music, morning light, and the smile you always give me before taking that very first sip. Because love has never needed a perfect beginning, only another morning shared together. The bookshelf hasn't changed in quite some time. The novels still lean against one another, holding stories they've never forgotten. Between them, a small collection of faded Polaroids rests against the wood. Their white borders have turned ivory, softened by years and afternoon light. One picture shows us sharing ice cream before it melted. Another catches a windy afternoon, your hair refusing to stay in place. None of them were carefully planned, that's why they still feel alive. Some moments never asked to be remembered, they simply linger long enough to become impossible to forget. Polaroids on the shelf, little windows into time, holding quiet afternoons, rainy days and borrowed sunshine. Every faded color still tells the truth. Life looked beautiful because I wasn't living it with you. Polaroids on the shelf, never asking why, keeping yesterday close enough to touch with just one glance. You picked up the oldest photograph, the corners are curling, you laughed. So are we, I smiled, I'd call that growing wiser. You slipped it back exactly where it belonged, not too straight, not too perfect, just the way you always leave things. The record player found another soul classic. Its gentle rhythm filled every quiet space between our words. Outside, a breeze moved the curtains inside. Dust floated through warm sunlight like tiny stars, too comfortable to fall. Memory never stay inside cameras, they settle inside the people who still smile when they remember. Polaroids on the shelf, captured without a plan. Every little picture shows exactly who we are. No perfect poses, no polished scenes, only ordinary moments living extraordinary dreams. Polaroids on the shelf, patient through the years, holding every quiet laugh, every hopeful tear. Maybe one day someone younger will find these pictures. They'll wonder who we were, where we traveled, field while we looked so happy, standing in the rain. They'll never hear the conversations, the music, the jokes behind each photograph. But perhaps they won't need to. Joy has a way of revealing itself. Polaroids on the shelf, long after the colors fade, long after the paper softens, long after the memories become stories. These little photographs will continue doing what they've always done, quietly reminding us that the best days were never the expensive ones or the perfect ones. They were simply the afternoons when we forgot to look at the clock and remembered to look at each other. Sunday arrived without an alarm. Sunlight wandered across the bedroom floor, slowly climbing the edge of the bed. You were still asleep, curled beneath a quilt, your hand resting where mine had been only moments before. The room carried the quiet rhythm of an easy morning. No meetings, no deadlines, only the gentle promise of an unhurried day. Some mornings don't need a destination, they're already perfect before they even begin. Sunday window light falling soft and slow, painting little moments only quiet hearts can know. Every golden beam warms this simple room, turning ordinary hours into something that will bloom. Sunday window light, stay a little more. There's nothing outside these walls worth rushing for. The coffee finished brewing before either of us spoke. You wandered into the kitchen, wrapped in an oversized shirt, still smiling with sleepy eyes. I dreamed we missed the train, you laughed, I poured another cup. Good thing we decided to stay home. The radio played an old soul melody. You hummed without knowing half the words. I pretended not to notice because somehow your version always sounded better outside. Children rode bicycles, a dog chased fallen leaves, someone watered flowers on the balcony below. Life continued without asking anything from us. Peace opened the living room window. Fresh air carried the scent of blooming jasmine. The curtains danced, a page turned itself inside an open book. Neither of us reached to stop it. Some stories know exactly when to continue. Someday when the light years from now, we may not remember which song was playing, what time we woke up, or whether it rained that afternoon. But we'll remember the warmth across the floor, fresh coffee on the table, your sleepy smile, and the quiet certainty that home can sometimes be nothing more than a Sunday morning shared together. The rain arrived without much warning, covering the rooftops in a quiet silver veil. I reached inside the closet, looking for a jacket. Instead, my hand found the sweater you forgot last autumn, folded neatly, just as you left it. Its sleeves still crossed together, as though waiting patiently for another cool evening. I smiled. Somehow, you always manage to stay close, even when you're away. There are things time never rushes: a favorite song, an old photograph, or the warmth someone leaves behind. The sweater you left behind still carries yesterday, soft as whispered promises that never fade away. Every woven thread remembers your embrace, turning ordinary afternoons into a gentle place. The sweater you left behind has never been alone. Every time I hold it close, this house feels like home. You bought it at a tiny shop during our weekend trip. It feels too big, you laughed, but it'll be perfect when winter comes. You were right, it always looked better on you. Sometimes when the room feels unusually quiet, I'll drape it across my shoulders, not because I'm cold, because certain memories have a way of keeping people warm outside. The rain taps softly against the glass inside. A record spun another slow melody, the scent of cedar wood, fresh coffee and lavender filled every corner. For a moment it felt as though you had only stepped out to buy bread. Love isn't measured by how tightly we hold on, it's measured by how gently someone remains even after they've gone. and still feels brand new. One winter, the fabric may begin to fade. A loose thread may finally appear. The cuffs may soften with the years. I'll mend them carefully, not because it's just a sweater, because every stitch protects a beautiful memory. Still kept that, I laugh, of course, because some things were never meant to be replaced. Not expensive gifts, not grand surprises, just one familiar sweater, one rainy afternoon, one quiet heart still making room for the person it has always been waiting for. There's a chair beside my own that no one else ever chooses. Its cushion has softened with familiar evenings. The wooden arms carry tiny scratches collected from coffee cups, open books and conversations that stretched long past midnight. Every sunset finds its way to that corner first, as though the light already knows where you'll be sitting. Rooms remember people, even empty chairs hold the shape of someone they've loved for years. The chair beside mine never feels empty. It quietly waits like every evening, already knows your name. 2 cups on the table, 2 stories to tell. Love often lives in places too ordinary to notice. The chair beside mine always saves a place for you. You never sit quite the same way, one foot tucked beneath you, a blanket across your knees, a book open halfway, though you spend more time talking than reading. Sometimes you pause to look outside, watching leaves drift across the yard, or listen to rain tap gently against the window. Those little pauses have become part of our evenings too. The old floor complains softly whenever you stand. I always know where you are, even before I look up. Home isn't built by furniture, it's built by the quiet routines we never realize we're creating. The chair beside mine has witnessed this is nicer. You were right, silence can become the most beautiful guest when it's shared. Because this chair has quietly held thousands of evenings, warm tea, gentle laughter, patient conversations, and two hearts growing older without ever growing apart. Every evening begins the same way. The door unlocks, shoes find their familiar corner. A gentle sigh escapes the day. Then your keys land softly inside the wooden bowl near the entrance. A simple sound, small enough to overlook, yet somehow it's the moment this apartment finally feels alive. Home doesn't announce itself, sometimes it arrives as quietly as keys finding their place. Keys in the wooden bowl, a little silver song telling every waiting room you finally come home. Every gentle clatter echoes through these walls. The sweetest melodies are often the smallest sounds of all. Itself was never expensive. We found it at a tiny weekend market. Its edges still carry the marks of careful hands. You turned it over more than once. It's imperfect, you smiled, so it's perfect. Years later, it still waits exactly where we placed it. Sometimes your keys arrive first, sometimes mine do. Sometimes we both forget them in our coat pockets, only to laugh the next morning while searching the entire house. Little routines become little stories without anyone planning them. A life together isn't built from extraordinary days. It's shaped by ordinary evenings, repeated with love. Keys in the wooden bowl, keeping quiet time, holding time. sit inside, guided only by memory. Even in the dark, your hand found the bowl, the keys found their place. I laughed. You could do that with your eyes closed. You answered, I already did. The silver may lose its shine. Our hands may move a little slower, but I hope the sound never changes, because every gentle clink whispers the same comforting words. You're home, I'm home, we're home, and somehow that's always been enough. Enough. You never folded pages, no story should wear scars. You always said instead you kept a simple bookmark between each chapter, pressed from thick paper, wrapped in faded blue cloth, its corners softened by countless evenings. This afternoon, while searching for an old novel, it quietly slipped onto the floor. Inside, a tiny handwritten date, the day we first visited that little bookstore near the river. I'd forgotten the number, you hadn't. Some memories hide themselves inside ordinary things, waiting for the right afternoon to return. A bookmark between us, holding more than pages, keeping little chapters safe across the ages. Every worn out corner knows where we've been. Love sometimes waits between the lines we almost missed again. A bookmark between us, simple, still true, saving every story that somehow led to you. You curled up beside the window, wrapped in a blanket, reading quietly. Outside, rain settled across the garden. Inside, the room smelled of cedar shelves and fresh tea. Halfway through the novel, you stopped, not because the story ended, because you wanted to read me one beautiful paragraph. Afterward, you closed the book without another word. We stayed there, listening to the rain. Some passages need silence as much as words. The finest stories rarely hurry, they leave space for the heart to arrive. A bookmark between us, keeping gentle time. Every pause beginning becomes with you, a bookmark between us, resting where we stayed, waiting patiently for another rainy day. Years from now, the paper may become fragile, the blue cloth may lose its color, the handwriting may grow faint. Still, one touch will bring back the quiet afternoon when two readers forgot to keep reading because life itself had become the better story. Something that ours has taught me this: love isn't found only in dramatic moments. Sometimes it waits inside an unfinished novel, a rainy window, a warm cup of tea, and one small bookmark patiently holding exactly the place where two hearts plan to begin. The room grew brighter long before the lamps were lit. You walked in carrying groceries and one ridiculous story about a stranger who accidentally greeted the wrong person 3 times in a row. You tried to tell it without laughing, you never could halfway through. The first smile escaped, then another. Soon your laughter filled every corner of the room. Even the walls seemed lighter. There are voices we remember, there are songs we cherish, but nothing feels more like home than someone's laughter, finding us at the end of the day. The sound of your laughter falls like summer rain, washing every heavy thought away. Joy arrives the moment your heart is open. The sound of your laughter changes everything. Even quiet evenings learn how to sing. We burned dinner trying a new recipe. The smoke alarm complained loudly. You looked at the blackened pan, then at me for one silent second. We both tried to stay serious, it didn't last. We laughed until tears blurred the kitchen lights. Pizza was delivered, candles were lit. The ruined meal became the favorite memory of that month. Funny how life rarely remembers because happiness has a beautiful sound. Wouldn't choose the house, the keepsakes, or the seasons. I'd choose that familiar laugh, the one that fills empty rooms, softens difficult days, and reminds me that love can sometimes begin with nothing more than two people finding the same moment wonderfully funny. The afternoon settled gently across the kitchen floor. Clouds drifted slowly, turning bright sunlight into a softer shade. You reached for the kettle without asking. I found 2 cups before you even turned around. We've done this so many times, our hands already know the rhythm. Steam rose quietly, carrying the scent of roasted beans through the room. Outside, rain washed the garden path inside. Everything felt wonderfully still. Some invitations never need words. A familiar glance can already mean stay a little longer. One more cup of coffee before the day is gone. Let another quiet moment slowly carry on. Every gentle sip warms more than hands. Love is often hidden inside the simplest plans. Oh, oh, one more cup of coffee, one more peaceful hour. Time seems kinder when it's shared with someone you adore. You added cinnamon to your cup, not every day, only when it rained. I noticed years ago, though I never mentioned it. You looked at me and smiled. You remembered. I nodded. So did you. The radio played softly in the background, an old soul melody we both knew. Though neither of us could remember who first introduced it, perhaps it didn't matter. Some songs eventually belong to everyone who loves them. A little breeze lifted the curtains, the rain slowed the room, filled with that quiet feeling only home can create. The happiest hours rarely arrive, looking important with warm drinks and easy conversation. One more cup of coffee, one more story told. Every shared remembrance feels brighter than gold. No expensive places, no elaborate view, just a wooden table holding me and you. Oh, one more cup of coffee, nothing left to chase. The richest afternoons move at their own pace. The mugs eventually empty, still neither of us stood up. The rain had ended, sunlight returned brighter than before. Tiny drops clung to the roses outside the window. You whispered, I wish afternoons could last forever. I answered, maybe they do, just differently, inside memory. There will always be another pot brewing, another chair waiting, another slow conversation, another rainy afternoon, and one more reason to ask before either of us leaves the room. Would you like one more cup of coffee? Beside the doorway, the old wooden hook still holds the denim jacket you wear on cool evenings. You always say, I'll put it away later. Somehow later never comes, and honestly I'm glad, because every time I pass by it feels like you're only in the next room. The hallway carries familiar echoes, shoes lined neatly, a folded umbrella, the scent of cedar wood, tiny details that quietly whisper someone you love lives here. Can hang so effortlessly on an ordinary wall, still hanging by the door, waiting like before. Every thread remembers every journey home. A jacket, a scarf, a quiet evening breeze. Sometimes love leaves little signs for only us to see, still hanging by the door, just whole house, the jacket. You laughed, I forgot I left it there. I smiled, I know, I've been walking past it every day. You tilted your head and you never moved it. I shook mine, it made the house feel full. You didn't answer, you simply smiled, the kind of smile that says you understand. Without another word outside, leaves gathered along the front steps. Inside the hallway light cast long golden shadows across the floor. Evening arrived as gently as always. Love doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it quietly waits exactly where we left it. Still hanging by the door, greeting every day, watching every season slowly drift away. Every little wrinkle tells another tale of rainy walks, cold mornings, and promises that never fail. Still hanging by the door, patient through the years, holding more than fabric, holding quiet souvenirs. One day the hook may loosen, the jacket may fade, its sleeves may soften from countless winters. But even then I'll remember the simple happiness of seeing it, waiting there, like home had already opened its arms. Still hanging by the door, not every memory needs a photograph. Some remain in familiar places, on wooden hooks beside quiet entrances, where ordinary evenings become lifelong treasures. Every time you walk inside, every time you hang your coat, every time you smile and say, I'm home, the house feels complete.